Hey guys, Steven here. Today we're going to install some undermount lighting on our cabinets. We are going to need a couple different things. I'll show you what I have here. I have a Philips Hue light strip with a base. This has the hub, and I have another light strip plus, and then I have a few extensions and a remote control. I also have light accessories adapters. I will probably be using these extensions to cut and solder the right lengths that I need. And if you don't have a soldering iron or you don't want to use a soldering method, they do have some plugs that go from a solderless connection to like you see here. But at the time of the recording, I could not find a lot of the connectors that I needed. So we're just going to do it with the soldering iron, and when I find those or they become available, I will post those in the link in the description below. You will need also a 5/8 inch drill bit. I want the light strips, the LED light strips, to be closer to the front, so I have drilled some holes there. I'm going to need to drill a couple more for these cabinets here. My wife and I found that we liked the look of the light about 2 inches from the front. If you put it back towards the back, it illuminates the backsplash a little bit more. All right, so now we've got all the holes drilled. And in this case, since I have my wall off and I have drilled a hole in the back of this cabinet, I will send it down and then come through this hole here. If you're making a hole for the light accessories extension cable, this guy here, for example, right through these studs, a 3/8 inch drill bit works pretty good. I want to put this light strip on the bottom of my microwave, and so I have attached the LED power supply hub, and I brought the power cable through a hole in the cabinet down on the side, which is going to get a piece of trim, and I'll start my light strip right near the corner here. I'm going to count out how many I'll need, and I'm going to cut it right about here. I don't want a hole in the side of this cabinet here, so I'm going to solder some wires to send it back through a little spot in the wall and come out here. I can go ahead and just use a scissor to cut directly in the solder joint. We're just going to cut right on the cut line and then expose our solder joints. I could just solder these connector pins directly onto this area for one end. I will probably have to solder the wires on the other end, but if you get enough of these, you can just solder these pins directly to the light strip, and then on the end of these extension cables, they have another mating connector. I have this Wild PCS soldering iron I found at Radio Shack when it was going out of business. Any other smaller tip soldering iron will work. And now I'm going to put just a little bit of solder on one end here. I'm going to line up the connector pin and just heat up the solder that's on that one pin. Now, one at a time, I'm going to go and feed solder to each of the leads. Looks like we're good. I'm going to make sure that that surface is nice and clean. So I just have a surface cleaner. Then I'm going to make sure there's no grease, and I want to get really good adhesion in that area. And that's really important if I want that light strip, the adhesive on the light strips, to work. I'm going to peel off. That's about where I want it. Here I have created a solder joint to come through the cabinet up to this other portion of the light strip that I've just soldered. In this other area here, the connector box here, and I use a splitting adapter, a Y. Basically it sends the power and the signals to this little light strip here, as well as to this longer extension. And I've got this longer extension coming into the wall, coming through the wall here, and connecting to my other light strip. I just took the light strip straight through the cabinets. I used a Y connector, so there is an open connection here. If I wanted to put some more lights that way, I could. And then at the end of this run, I have soldered the cut ends of the extension cable going into the wall through the hole in the cabinet, down through to this other side where I've come out. And I have, on this end, it's the end of the light strip. So there is a connector. The extension cables come with these little mating adapters and that fit right in. So I didn't have to do any solderable connections there. Put your light strip closer to the front of the counter, I found that in our kitchen it sheds a little bit more light on the counter overall, so it has a little bit more functionality. You will be able to see the reflection of the LEDs in the countertop. So as long as you don't have a problem with that, you're good to go. So in the case where I installed the light strip under the microwave, I also put a little thin piece of wood right under the microwave so that from a standing position you could not see the light strip. I have a pretty good soldering iron and I feel like I'm probably above average at soldering skills, but please take my word for it and just try and find the solderless adapters for these light strips and your life will be so much easier. So I'll leave a link in the description below for the solderless adapters for the extension cable that I really liked. If you have any other ideas on how you did your light strips and any things that you found helpful, please leave them in the comments and hopefully we'll all be able to learn from each other and I'll be able to learn from you guys too. So thanks for watching and we'll see you again next time. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so that you can be alerted when I post new videos.